did affect me as a business owner. I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. But I was talking to the doctor, and he was telling me more about what it could do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us. To learn more, please visit hereforuswa.org.
Join Rainier Avenue Radio from 5 to midnight for Sunday evening sound sessions. Jazz from the cabinets from Big Poppy.
That's right. It's time once again for Jazz from the cabinets. Poppy.
Sergio LaCour's Love Lines.
It's Sergio's Love Lines with Sergio LaCour. Go to the phone line. Tell her who we talking to.
Sage Prince, Just My Opinion.
This is Sage, and that's just about going to do it for the first half of Just My Opinion.
K-Fox Night Beat with Nasty Ness Rodriguez.
The beat of the Fox. K-Fox Night Beat, Nasty Ness.
You know what? You're going to listen from 5 to midnight. Just turn it on and don't stop. DJ Alibaba. The Underground Surround Sound Start Time. Paul Pinch.
Tuning in. My name is Paul Pearson.
Sunday evening sound sessions on Rainier Avenue Radio. Trust me, you'll be listening the entire time from 5 to mid Sunday evening. Your sound session on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Women Empowerment Talk Radio, your roadmap to business success. Tune in every Sunday at 3 p.m. on RainierAvenueRadio.world, providing resources and sharing motivational experiences from the everyday entrepreneur. Tune in, Women Empowerment Talk Radio, every Sunday, 3 p.m. on RainierAvenueRadio.world.
This is an important message about coronavirus. With coronavirus still spreading, those who are most likely to get seriously ill must take extra precautions. You are at a higher risk for getting seriously ill if you are over 65 or if you have any serious underlying medical conditions, like heart disease, chronic lung disease, like asthma, diabetes, or if you're undergoing cancer treatment. If you're at a higher risk for getting seriously ill, it's essential you take extra care to protect yourself. Stay home, avoid close contact with others, wash your hands frequently with soap and water for 20 seconds, disinfect frequently touched objects like doorknobs and light switches. The choices you make are critical, and their impact is significant.
You're listening to RainierAvenueRadio.world. Check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram, RainierAvenueRadio.world, and on Twitter at Rainier Ave Radio.
Experience. Monday is where you take that full tank of gas.
Hey, y'all, can you hear me? Thank you. So this is Dr. Traci Harrell. We are live on remote in Bellevue. Super exciting. Thank you. Someone said they love continuing this work. So what you're going to see today, and I could not be more excited, is you're going to see some recaps from week 1 through week 6. So Daniel is our producer. He's going to share that. And then moving forward, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in more of your voices. So get ready for a quick recap, highlights from week 1 through 6 of our series, Getting Better Together, getting healthier, happier, wealthier, and wiser. It was so amazing. We've gotten so much feedback. It's been insane. I decided to make sure that we came here for you and we show up consistently. So get ready, Daniel. We're ready when you are. Thanks. So we are going to do what?
Get better.
Thank you very much.
Well, the circle breaks down the power dynamics, and we're sitting in a circle. It allows us to be able to identify our own stories and then embrace the stories.
Why are we here? Why is it so much better that we do this work together? And I could go scientific, but we're 500% more likely to complete any task when you do it in community. That's why all universities have gone to these cohort models. 500% more likely. Do you want to be 500% more likely to complete your goals? Of course we do.
In order for the community to be healed, we first need to heal ourselves, and then we go forth into the world.
One is that when you do healing and empowerment work together, you become aware of the shared experiences you have with other humans versus thinking it's only me. Getting stuck is often a result of only dealing with the above ground, visible action level and not the causative level. The visible level is the effect level. And so transformation is about also addressing the cause level. So hence the reason we can loop or stay stuck or be talking about it, have a plan.
Together. For you, it might be, I want to improve my business. For you, it might be, I'm a newlywed and I want to make sure this relationship is optimized. For you, right, it might be about your child, right? For you, so we all are going to have different things that we want to get better, different ways we want to get better.
We are afraid to share our stories, so we hold them on the inside of us. And we know that what we suppress, what we hold on the inside of us, it oppresses us and ultimately depresses us. And I always say soul work is slow work. And it takes a lot of time.
Usually when we think about better, we think about horizontal, forward, linear progress. And so I would like to suggest that better has a new direction, which is upward. So that means elevation. Hello. That means elevation. That means upward. That means vertical.
We're in the post-pandemic world. Everybody lost a little something. We've got 13-year-olds who are 11-year-old in their social skills and emotional development because they were in a silo for 2 years and were not interacting with their peers. The American way of life is killing us. We've got to get better at just living in our bodies. We've got to get better at managing our relationships. And we got to stop talking about back in the day because we ain't back in the day. You got to start talking about today.
We were just talking about what are some of the reasons that people get stuck. The next question, just so we're all on the same page, is going to be, how do you move out of being stuck into living powerfully? And third, some of the steps that you have taken, because we've all done it, to move to that next level, to 20% of a true change. Only 20% of that is through information. 80% is through activation. So it has to be in us doing things differently and us showing up differently.
So grief is one of the reasons why we get stuck. Social injustices, which cause people's lives to veer off the cliff because of systemic injustices on the basis of race, gender, and poverty. So putting women back on their backs, barefoot and pregnant, keeping other people on the other side of the Rio Grande, LGBTQ back in the closet. There's a lot of, right now you're having people who are fighting intentionally to push America back to 1955. But people get stuck because of that. Trauma from their childhood.
So when you think about the neuroscience of the brain and you think about positive psychology and performance science and cognitive behavioral psychology, it's like, how does it work? What can we do? So we all have self-command. We have the power to choose. It's decisions that determine our destiny. Regardless of what's happening around us, we get to decide how I'm going to perceive it. I believe that every situation will work out for my good. Every situation can be turned into a gift and an opportunity. That's positive intelligence. Do an assessment around what gets you stuck. It's those saboteurs, it's those voices in our head. But the fact that we get to choose differently. We get to actually get unstuck.
Part of the journey is recognizing that it's about becoming a better conditioner of your mind. And that also means your thoughts. It's not an event.
Right.
It's an ongoing process, because conditioning, just like if you go to the gym, you go hard for 6 months, you stop for 6 weeks, you will regress. So the conditioning of the mind is not just for a season. The brain is plastic. The mind is unlimited. So we're to continue to be elevating.
We really have to learn how to practice self-care and compassion towards ourselves. And that actually gives us the strength. We're bombarded with so many things, and structural things, racism, and all the things as Dr. Braxton had alluded to. And those things just sort of clog up our mind.
Sometimes people who live in an addiction that they tell themselves that they're managing, after that second or third DUI, and they lose their license, and then they can't get hired with the school system or anything anymore, that addiction is causing them so much pain, they're tired of that pain, and then they decide to go get help. Or someone tells them the marriage is over if you don't go get help. So what helps us get unstuck is sometimes the staying where I am is just too painful. And sometimes the support in people in my life, their continued presence in my life is conditioned upon me moving off the dime. It's not always an epiphany. That's the beginning of getting unstuck, when we stop lying to ourselves. And we all do it. I've done it. We have, and the more educated you are, the more powers and tools of rationalization.
Right, exactly. Tell the truth. The truth shall make you free. Is it true or not? It is. That is the path to freedom, is truth. So we can't have a mixed PR campaign on one hand. The truth hurts. Yes, sister, hold up. Is it hurting or is it making you free? What is really causing the pain? That's what we want to begin to cut away. So
it's not just something that you wave a wand and suddenly all is well. It's slow work, it's every day really paying that attention. And then to be willing to get help.
You may want to get better. Are you ready to get better? You and I had a conversation just last Thursday, and it was like, let's be very clear. Wanting a thing and being ready for true transformation are very different things. So let's talk a little bit about readiness.
You're ready at the point where you can't stand the situation anymore. You're ready. I'm ready. I can't. I think other people call it hitting bottom, and your bottom is not my bottom.
Right.
You may be content to wallow in a little bit. For me, it's bottom. I'm done with it. And I think one of the things that helps us get unstuck, and in a sense of helping our neighbor, is we've got to fight to make sure that there is equity and access to the resources that allow people to take that step when they're ready. Even if they're not ready, they're not going to take the step, even if it's there.
Well, I've lost 35 pounds without trying, just because I've been doing this positive intelligence, this work around living powerfully, right? Because I get to decide, like, these decisions determine your destiny. Not the decision that I want to lose weight when I'm can't button something up, but the decision when I'm having lunch, when I'm buying that food. Did you see that more green stuff is over here than ever? The fruit, the vegetables. My body is a divine living temple that I'm going to pour into it.
If you don't have a vision, you will perish because you're not focused any place. So in alignment with that vision, you have to have goals, and you have to have the goals, the guiding opportunities, those opportunities that's going to lead to success in the area that you're focused on.
Celebrate every little success that is moving you toward the goal that you're about to declare. In order to truly heal, we talked about empowerment, which is information, but to truly heal, right? The concept of putting new wine in old wineskins, the concept of clearing out the junk and the gunk, in order to truly be in a position where you can get to that next level.
Forgiveness is not to be thought of as letting the offender off the hook. The forgiveness is Jesus telling you about your opportunity to get unhooked from your toxic past so that you're free to completely flower into the human being God intended you to be, despite what happened back there. And leave them to God.
Now, I'm amazed at how many people have not done any active forgiveness work, and that is a false belief they hold that keeps them from doing the work. So if I were giving a definition, it would be personal freedom process, a personal liberation process. A lot of times the payoff that we've gotten, even though as miserable as the jail cell is, that we've convinced ourselves how miserable the jail cell is, there's some payoffs. I can stay inside this 10 by 10 I don't have to take any responsibility. I mean, there's some payoffs. Why would anyone want to turn and go back to the urine stained cot, you know? But that was the metaphor. So we can be at all different phases of that and never walk across that threshold and remain in jail. And forgiveness is the process of crossing the threshold free.
I will say this on the forgiveness thing, because I got sick a few years ago, and when God sits you down and you're still, God sometimes forces you to take a repass through your past and walk through the debris and the fallouts from yesteryear and pick up the raw materials for building a better future. My pastor told me when I complained to him, because he saw the look on my face, he said, "You are no longer welcome in my pulpit." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I see your rage toward this man." And he said, "I know what he did." And I said, "So why is he in the pulpit?" He said, "God is the judge and not you." And he said, "You are no longer welcome in my pulpit till you forgive him. Because there's no way you can preach the love of God with that much hate in your heart for that man."
Ooh, Dr. James Carter, president of the National Black MBA Association. You were part of the reason that we got to do this.
The mind is a beautiful thing. It can really crush you and crush your spirits if you let it, if you don't control it, if you don't put together the work for the thoughts to help you make it to the next minute and the next hour and the next day. I'm laying in a hospital bed and my mindset is, am I going to be thought of less of a man because I'm missing a limb? Am I going to be thought of less of a man because I'm missing 2 limbs? And the Lord said, "Hey man, you are so much more than your legs. You didn't become Dr. Carter because you had legs."
Let us continue the work together and bring more people with us each week. And we can pack this room out by the end of 6 weeks because each one just reached one. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. We're going to be getting healthier, happier. Well, we're going to be getting healthier. So much better when we do this work together. This is the Getting Better Together Empowerment Series. This is also about us living powerfully. This is the Living Powerfully experience.
Monday is where you take that full tank of gas and hopefully you got it in service, combined with how you refuel yourself through your own meditative and rituals for self-care. Because it's not all, there's a connection between the body and the soul. You not only need worship on Sunday.
Healing is important because we're all on a journey. And I think the journey for all of us is to be healed and to be made whole. And if I could just step back for a moment, it's about us reclaiming our authentic selves. It's about finding a space to meditate, healing ourselves. And it's important to be able to have a circle of people that you support, that you can do it with. We have to ask ourselves those hard questions every day, because that's the only way we're ever going to get to the truth. Not what someone else tells us, but what we are telling ourselves is. And so I believe in reflection as a really important part of healing ourselves, is taking the time to ask ourselves those hard questions.
I love it.
We all need to do that every day of our lives, to let go of the old, to bring in the new.
There's a measure of how calm you are. There's a measure. And we call them PQ breaks. It's pausing. It's breathing. The power, it's in the pause. The power is in the break. So we're going to talk a little bit today about saboteurs. When you're about to be triggered, right? When you're about to go off, as they say, it's the power of the pause. Talk about the importance of leveling up and getting better. And what does it take to actually level up?
No matter how big a pot you get and fill it up with ocean water, it still remains that most of the ocean's water is not in your pot. So no matter how much most of the knowledge is still outside of you, waiting for you to discover it. And so I think for all of us, we need to accurately see where we are, and don't compare ourselves to other people.
Yes.
Because comparing yourself to another work of God under construction does not tell you where you are in comparison to what you may be capable of. You and God have to assess that, honestly. So I think it's about saying, okay, I've done this, I've achieved this.
It's about living our authentic selves. You know, life as we journey through life. Life is a journey, and there are many destinations. And in the journey of life, we build up what I call false beliefs about who we are, artificial self. And so the journey of life, living authentically, is about reclaiming our authentic selves. And in reclaiming our authentic self, it causes us to really is to know that there is better there for us. There are greater things for us. And I'm not talking about physical things. I'm talking about the spiritual, the mental, the emotional things that we struggle with. What is God saying to me? Not worried about what God is saying to anyone else, but what is the Spirit saying to me? How am I to live anew?
If you have a plant that is in the ground, you expect it to keep growing. If you come back week after week and it's still 2 inches high, you think to yourself, something is missing, something is wrong, because this is a plant and what it does is grow. It is the same for us humans. We are designed to be leveling up. There are levels to the human experience. And if we are not growing, then the human being, just like a plant, isn't fulfilling on its design.
The saboteur assessment is just another tool in what I'll call God's process of being courageous enough to take the mask off and to live in community.
Yes.
And to say, this is the evaluation of where I am. You still want to work on it. Then the God that I believe in lets me work on it until I make that decision to give. So I think the saboteur assessment will challenge you to do that.
When I think about the saboteur assessments, as I was sharing with you over the years, I've probably taken hundreds of them. You know, being in the leadership world, we often took assessments about, you know, who we were and our strength and our weakness. And as a pastor, I went through assessments to, just, looking at my strengths and my weakness. But those things over the years has really been like, it's kept me awake to who I am, kept me aware of who I am and the things that I need to do to be healed, so that when I'm, interacting and building relationships with others, that I'm not putting my stuff off on them.
A lot of people, I've tried to get people to go to counseling and say, Reverend, I just want to talk to you. And listen, I'm not going to mess you up in the name of Jesus. I'm not a psychoanalyst. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychotherapist. I'm a pastor. I know what my lane is. And I tell parishioners all the time, it says, if you trust me as your pastor, then you need to trust my referral to you, to the person who is anointed to help you in this aspect of your well-being. Yes. And so I think we have to be wise and careful with whom we share. I've seen people get killed because they shared the wrong thing with the wrong person, literally. And so I think part of being healthy and whole is knowing where and with whom to be guarded.
Decisions determine your destiny. So when someone is on the edge, you get to decide if you're going to go hilltop.
I practice nonviolence because I am very violent. Nonviolence is an ethic. I don't live according to my emotions. I live according to my convictions. Yes. Nonviolence is a conviction. Yes. Violence is my nature.
Today was saying, you know what? We all have saboteurs. Thank you so much for being vulnerable. Thank you so much for sharing how we got to take off the mask, but we got to do the work. This is for you. You don't have to share your results with anyone. If you choose to, I am there to help support you, but this is about you getting closer to you. Once you identify those saboteurs, next week we're going to go deeper. It's going to be about, now that you know what those things are, this is for you.
It is a very intentional process, and it's not overnight, especially if you're new to doing
intentional self-development work that levels you up and elevates you, then you know that it is not overnight. It is not a shot in the arm, that it is a journey. It's a process. It has steps. It has levels. So it requires patience. I think of the gardening process. You have a pack of seeds, and on the front of the pack, it shows the finished product. It shows the carrot, not just the seed of the carrot, right? It shows the sunflower, not just the seed of the sunflower. So between having the seed in your hand and then the finished product, it is a process and a time lapse where certain things need to occur.
In full transparency, I'm not going anywhere until I get some of that chicken.
Oh, yes! Yes! Let me take
And I love the fact that you put fruits and vegetables around it as if to suggest it eradicates the calories in the fried chicken. I love the denial of the saboteur.
I was thinking about the savior, because one assessment I did way back early in my ministry life is that I was a savior, and that's pretty wowing, and that's a very dangerous place to be, because it is really, but I felt like I was like in my family, I felt like I was the savior, and so I carried that forward. It's so amazing how, but in doing the deep work of reflection and, reclaiming, my true self, my authentic self, it's helped me to embrace that, but also to know when to let go and when to not take on and being able to step away. So I feel so much healthier because of that.
I'm looking to smile. Y'all give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. More to come. And this is for you. Each of you show up for yourself. This is about your empowerment, your healing. And together, we're getting better together, y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to be getting healthier. We're going to be getting healthier.
I'm Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not cooking up a batch of my famous wood-flavored chicken, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Ever went over a friend's house to eat and the food just ain't no good?
Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities, and this is what they had to say.
Generational wealth to me means to provide and establish wealth for generations to come, whether it be through real estate or through other equitable funding.
Personally, it helps to work with a trusted financial professional to guide and steer you, because you're going to be making some decisions around how you spend your money, how you save your money, how you invest your money. Some of that will be strictly to increase the size of your wealth. Other parts of those investments might be something that you want to do that keep your purpose and your character. And you can manage to do both.
This campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at yung local Filipino community, Phil-Am Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in, Phil-Am Radio, every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
Welcome to the Fitness Corner. I'm your host, Mark Bryant, and you're going to get a whole total body workout on my show, starting off with a warm-up, aerobics, strength training, cool down, and stretching every Friday from 11:30 to 12 right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.
If you or a family member are 55 or over and need nursing home level care, but want to keep living where you are, check out Providence Elder Place PACE. This program offers healthcare, housing, transportation, and recreational activities. There are no copays or deductibles, and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE works to keep you healthy and in your home. Call 206-320-5325 or visit providence.org Elder Place. Providence.org Elder Place.
Rainier Avenue Radio.world is your 24/7 digital media hub. Tune in at Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and TuneIn apps.
Hey. Yeah, I could not be more excited about what you're watching today. Is amazing highlight from a 6-week series that we started in March, ended last week. It was so transformational. I keep hearing from people that they want more and more and more of this. So what we're doing this week and next week is going to be focused on highlights. And we really want to hear your voices. So we really want to hear more of you. You'll see more of your voices toward the end of the series. But we started the entire process really focused on listening to each of you, hearing from each of you, and really understanding what you needed. This is about liberation, personal liberation, but it's also about professional liberation, right? This is for entrepreneurs, it's for leaders, it's for students, it's for parents, it's for you if you want to live powerfully. Whatever that looks like for you, this is for you. So, Daniel, we're going to go right to the next highlight, and stay with us, you guys. This is for you. These are nuggets, life-changing. Thanks.
This is called the Better Together Empowerment Series and the Living Powerfully Experience. This is about getting better, getting healthier, getting happier, getting wealthier, and getting wiser.
I'm really excited about the intentionality around each individual taking control of their own life and living to, as I say, to thy own self be true.
I'm here to do what?
Transform.
I'm here to get what?
Better.
We're getting better. Guaranteed to work if we do what?
Pause is a spiritual discipline that's really important. In biblical text, in the psalmist, God said, be still. Be still and know thyself. Be still. Pausing is different from stopping. Pausing is about intentional listening to your spirit, listening to your soul. Because sometimes when we're still, we got 50 different things going through our minds, and we're still not listening to our souls. So really wrapping our minds around what it means to just pause for a moment throughout the day. So we're going to just take a pause. Now reawaken yourself to new life.
Have you noticed with your cell phone, every now and then, the applications, the page starts freezing, the applications is acting funny, and you just need to shut it down. I took my phone into AT&T. They said, how can you shut your phone off? I said, I haven't shut it off in months. They said, he said, first of all, he said, you got too many open files. You should close these files out.
That's good. Yes.
And he said that at least once a day, shut your phone off. And it'll reboot. And then things will work fine.
Most of us are familiar with motivational speakers, going to the large hotel ballroom gatherings, having a speaker on the stage that gets us emotionally excited. And from that emotional excitement, there are some things that energy can cause
to change of behavior or thinking. So motivation has been a really important force in many of our lives, but we're now talking about the next level. So motivation means that you are getting emotionally stirred up and excited and activated. Transformation is about caterpillar to butterfly. A new creature has been born with new DNA, new ways of thinking, moving, showing up, different body even. So that's what this series is really preparing us for and getting us familiar with is transformation. And that's my lane. And that's why healing is another part if you're talking about transformational work as well.
Transformation is the process of work that you commit yourself to that makes the difference. You can be motivated to go to the gym, but if you don't get you a good workout that's consistent with your desired outcomes and give yourself over to consistently sustaining that regimen. Uthman says, your God is whatever is your ultimate concern. This, we no longer slide to the edge of our beds and have prayer at night or in the morning. The last thing we do and the first thing we do, even for God's people, is we grab this cell phone and then it preoccupies us.
When we talk about positive intelligence and we talk about this concept of the power of the pause, you can take a pause at any point in time throughout your day. And it's important to start with those pauses, to start with the breaks. You don't have to have the beautiful sound bath, right? You decide, right? In this moment, I'm going to start my day.
Yeah, it hurts when I go to the gym.
No game without
you know, but that's what I have to do in order to move forward. So I have to be, when you talk about intentional, I have to be intentional because I can be and I'm going to tell you, I'm a bucket of tears right now in that space. So I might
let it flow, sister. We got you.
Let it go if it comes.
We got you, honey.
If I'm going to be intentional, because I can be intentional about establishing relationships or doing things for you, but I can't do them for me. And that's where that's got to be my breakthrough.
Yes.
I got to figure out how to break through that.
Because I had so much stuff moving on, it's becoming, now that I'm healing, it's like overwhelming. Like I got so much stuff to do now because it was just piling up. But part of that process, I also know that I want to get better and I have these visions of what I want to do. It's very clear what I want to do.
The question is, which pain is worth it? There can be the proactive pain that is the cost of enlarging, of bettering, advancing, or there can be the default pain of not stepping up to something.
So when you say it's particular work, it's particular for you, it's very different for you. Like I said, based on your experiences in life, we each have different saboteurs, different triggers, different things that's gonna hold us back.
It come to me is that people don't like themselves because so think about the impact of that in a year or maybe less than a year. And matter of fact, I called a friend of mine on the East Coast today and asked her did I need to get a counselor for her. Just because she was doing all of these facing. Now it seems like it might be fun, but think about the impact that it's having to the mind. It's telling me that I don't like who I look like. So I'm making myself up to all of these imaginary things.
You have to be honest about what your weaknesses are because the only thing you have to offer people is yourself. So you have to, the best way to protect what you mean to other people is to protect yourself for yourself.
Transformation is a journey. Step one is seeing yourself, seeing how you might influence others, deciding that you're going to intercept those saboteurs. And then we got those limiting beliefs. We got things that go deeper.
God is always in the present. And it's important for us to center on that reality because in centering in that reality, it brings us back to the essential truth that you have everything that you need in this moment to do what God created you to do in this moment.
How do you feel about it? I mean, if you're feeling not so good about how you're responding to something, then we always need to step back and check ourselves.
When we start with the saboteur assessment, it's not saying you got problems. It's not saying you're not healthy, you're not happy. It's saying I want to up level. I want to minimize those things that are not allowing me to be at my best, that are not allowing me to be my happiest, my healthiest, all those things, right? Decide what works for you. That ain't for you, cross it out. That ain't for you, just cross it out.
And you have to listen to your soul, because your soul is always talking, but a lot of times we're not paying attention. So as we are doing this work, it's the transformation will come if we listen.
I kept thinking that controller was my number one, but it's not. It's kind of down there.
Right.
But it pops up more than, but mine was actually the stickler.
Yes.
I was like,
So what are you going to do differently this week to get better?
This week. But I was saying that because when I was looking at my daughter's, hers, and we do kind of bump heads because of that. And this has enlightened me as to why we bump it. We love each other.
Right.
We hang out all the time. I love the fact that we have a great relationship. But we bump heads a lot. And now I see why.
I learned so much about me. And one of the things that I'm going to do different is self-care. I'm a pleaser and a controller. And in these things, I got a chance to figure out why. Why am I wired that way?
Just seeing the results and understanding that, yes, I'm restless. There's reasons for that. Yes, I'm hyper rational. There's reasons for that. Yes, there are reasons for it, right? Stemming from childhood trauma, adulthood trauma, all of these things. The role that I serve, I own a business. If it's gonna fall, it's because I didn't do, because I'm responsible.
What's really unique about it all is that we all have certain characteristics. And for me, we pick those characteristics up as we grow up. We imitate a lot of things that we see, just like a baby. A baby only learns what a baby can sees or hears. And so as we get older, we emulate those things that we saw, we heard, and what someone taught us. And that becomes our characteristics. I was incarcerated for 25 years. And with that being said, I was given a 40-year sentence. But I realized that transformation had to happen in order for me to see freedom again. And so I had to make a choice. And that choice was I going to die in prison or was I going to get out?
Our lives is like an onion, and it has many layers. And in order to get to the heart of the onion, you have to pull each slice by slice and layer by layer. So, and all of this is about rewriting the narrative, recreating a new narrative for our lives.
Everything will transform, right? Everything will transform, right? You get to create the life of your dreams. What are you gonna do the next time a meal comes up, the next sunrise that you get to walk? What are you gonna do the next time you get to choose? You're gonna choose yourself, yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Thank you. That's it, y'all. See you next week. Thank you. Thank you so much. Woo, y'all, we are live right here on Memorial Day. When I think about Memorial Day, I think about, what can we do to leave a legacy? This is the continuation, y'all. This is us continuing the dream. This is us manifesting our dream.
One of the things that Dr. King did was he encouraged us and empowered us to continue to manifest the dream. And the importance of continuing the dream is about continuing to address issues of inequities and injustice that impact, the people, and particularly, African Americans, but all people. We're impacted by poverty, by homelessness, by housing, by voting rights, by health inequities. And so what we have to do as a community and as a people, continue to give voice to those issues. But we can't do that if we're not connected together. We are a communal people.
And if we think about the premise nationally that we're stopping our work to reflect on, it is what were people willing to give their lives for. And during this series, one of the things that I really carried forth into this week is what is the pain that we're choosing? That we would first transform ourselves. And in that transformation, then transform our communities. Because as I change, those who interact with me have a choice to change with me or find their way.
And hearing the voices to be heard is what really brings about healing. It's when we have the opportunity to share our voices about the things that's going on in our world and in our own personal lives. And when people's voices are heard, they're part of the story. And it's a powerful way of bringing healing to the community. So I love the work that you're going to continue to carry forward to a larger community. I think that's really powerful.
Right. Here's what it looks like to transform. We can't keep it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can't empower people this much. Empowerment is like, it's out there in the universe, come one, come all. Yes? How do you feel about that? About creating this space where we are, every voice in here.
Ultimately, your history is your legacy. And it is not, it's not something that, whether you're intentional about it or not, it is developed and it becomes your story. So the idea of the work that each of you all have brought to this space with a willingness to do that allows us to build a collective legacy.
We each have been empowered. So that's different, and it's different from power of one, but we each have been empowered to go forth, to heal ourselves, but also to heal the world. And so when we think about it from that perspective, it's like you say, the power of one. Each person that's in this room, each person that's on the Zoom have made a conscious choice that I want to be changed and I want the environment that I'm in to be changed. And so my legacy is touching those around me as I go forth in a good way.
So this image I love so much because it is about saying when I transform, that caterpillar, when it becomes a butterfly, it is no longer. It doesn't remember what it was like to scooch on a limb. It is free. So this is about really setting ourselves free, the freedom to be all that we can be, right? It's exciting.
Doing it together really validates that our humanness, that there's nothing wrong with us when we, maybe get stuck in issues or we find ourselves feeling less than someone else or having limited belief. When we do it together, each one of us have a story. And when we're honest and authentic about sharing that story, it really brings healing to us, but it also let the person sitting next to you say, oh, I am okay. I'm not the only one that's going through some things, that's experiencing some things. So working together in community is really powerful. Once we are aware of something, then we can acknowledge it. Once we acknowledge something, we take the power away from it. It no longer hoards power over us. So I think that the importance of just acknowledging, being aware is really great first steps in helping us to get unstuck. And like I say, it's part of the journey. It's the journey of life. It's a part of that self-care and that self-awareness of who you are that you have to keep doing over and over again.
Levels of awareness is the step before transformation. You're actually still a caterpillar. You just see that there's someplace I can go. You start to get into that next level of the chrysalis, right? But you ain't there yet, right? It's not until you start to do what we're going to do this week and really think about beliefs. That's where the transformation happens.
Well, the beliefs that I have now is that can transformation happen? Yes, but it's also a choice. So I had to make that choice. Sometimes you're gonna hurt people's feelings. Sometimes people are gonna not want to associate with you. Sometimes people are gonna curse you out because you're challenging a system that there should not be no resistance. It's just hear and obey and you do what I say. But now the belief system allows me to be a free man.
Sometimes we carry the thoughts that's inside of us on the outside, and so the power of just being changed is that you didn't have to say any words, but just your outer countenance exemplify the smile and your face, and that's the power of I know we're going to be talking about belief, but I think the power of transformation is what we carry into the world. If we're healed, we carry more healing into the world. And so that's powerful that we expand. I can look at everyone in this room. I cannot tell you what's going on inside of you. But that assessment really gives you an opportunity to look at yourself. And even if I knew something that was going on with you, and I told you, you wouldn't believe it. Then we start to, project it back on others. But the assessment really is an opportunity to intentionally see ourselves.
What are we transforming? The innermost, most foundational seed thoughts or core programming that we are in this space calling beliefs. So we're going beyond the place that many other models stop. So what are you thinking? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Reflect, reflect, reflect. Those are all questions at the thought level. But what gives rise to the thoughts that we're reflecting on? So that's where the real power for permanent change lives. Because you can change your thoughts, but the beliefs that gave rise to the thoughts are still firing and informing and, feeding the thoughts. And then you can backslide or regress. But when you've done the clean out and the changing of the inner forms, then you become a new creature. Once the caterpillar becomes transformed into a butterfly, it cannot go back to caterpillar. So that is the power of transformation. It creates new creatures, new beings, the new man, the new woman. We have weak muscles in going deep. So then when it comes time to do it, it's like trying to lift an 80-pound weight, but your muscles have only been built up to 5 pounds.
Right.
So you gotta work the muscle. And so going beyond thoughts to beliefs is like the 80-pound weight. And a lot of us have never lifted that and haven't prepared ourselves to lift that. But that's what needs lifting now.
I was really excited about the scientific elements, right? The things that the neuroscience, because it's guaranteed to work, but I'm a believer too. And so I had to kind of combine those two things, which is why connecting with Reverend Dr. Linda Smith and connecting with my pastor on work that they've been doing anyway to help us get better. It's like, when you bring the scientific and the spiritual together, it's everything. You cover all the bases. You're guaranteed to work if you work it. And it's about ease and flow. So when you look at your beliefs, there is a process. There's a step-by-step process that we're going to talk about today. And we're going to ask you to work that muscle.
I actually adopted this working in corporate America. And the belief is that 50% of what people say is true. And the way that this shows up is, the more a person talks, the more content, I believe, like some of that is probably true and some of it probably isn't, just because inherently we like to embellish the truth. We like to feel grand. We like to feel important. Let's talk about the risks. Let's talk about So I'm more reserved and more analytical. And it has actually worked for me because it has set me apart and put me in positions in corporate where part of my job was to work with people and the other half was to work with data. So there's some benefits, and jobs and data pay more. So it served me well.
So Ms. Traci, with the multiple degrees and the multiple certifications and the blah, 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 all the things, for some reason, when I transitioned out of corporate, I felt like in doing something else, I wanted to do these I needed some extras. Certifications and optimizations and validations and, really. So now I say, I don't need nothing else.
My parents are like brother and sister today. What they agreed upon is how I would come into the world and how I would navigate the world. But for me, I saw myself as a constant diplomat. Every holiday, how much time at this house, etc. So think about the patterns of that. Holding on is this idea that I will be here every Monday.
I've been dealing with friends and folks and myself, and it seems like to transform at this age and this time, you have to deal with that child.
Hey y'all, this is Dr. Traci Harrell. Again, you were just watching highlights from one of our 6-week series the most recent one, where we were talking about getting better, getting healthier, getting happier, getting wealthier, and getting wiser. More of that to come. Bear with me here as I get my camera right. But listen, there's so much more to come, and we're going to invite you to share your story as well. You can reach out to me at Traci, Traci, at itsallbiggerthanme.com. Reach out if you want to bring your story and your voice to this beautiful community empowerment and healing series. So much more to come, y'all. This is truly, when I say I didn't expect to have this much input, this much feedback from people that are watching. I went to an event last night. I went to Sound the Black Folk last night, which was managed by our pastor. So you can still contribute, I believe, to that, soundtheblackfolk.org. But I went to that event last night at the Paramount Theater, and I swear to you, no underestimation, 40 people stopped me and said, "Oh my God, I love what you're doing online." Like, I have been transformed. And when that happens, it's beautiful. It's empowering for me. It's that kind of confirmation that you want to say, "Oh my God, we're doing the work. We're doing exactly what we're supposed to do to change the status quo." This is for young people. This is for seniors. This is for everyone in our community to truly, truly create a space where we can drive change, right? You have all these initiatives happening in community. People want to reduce violence, and they want to increase economic empowerment, and they want to create a space where entrepreneurs can be more powerful. This one thing, the living powerfully experience, creates a space for all of that. For family, for community, I could not be more excited, y'all. So more to come. You're ready to bring more of your voice into this conversation. More than anything, honestly, I could not be more proud. Oh my God. Did I not mention that we're turning this whole series into a documentary, so that there will be no question from anyone, no matter who you are, where you are, what it takes to truly transform. So we're laying it all out for you. We're bringing in more of your voices. The documentary will then be turned into a book. I don't know what's happening right now. I'm trying to get this camera. But the documentary will be turned into a book, and it is going to be absolutely fabulous, y'all. So we want you to be a part of that. Share your story, and more to come. That's it. Thank you.